Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
U.S. Capitol Police used force to arrest a St. Clair County man right outside of the U.S. Supreme Court tonight. The defenders were digging for information about who this man is and why he was there.
Where's the sun? After days of clouds and rain, local forecasters are tracking a little bit of clear weather, but not going to last long.
But we're going to begin with President Biden making a stop here in Metro Detroit, pushing for support for his bill to overhaul America's infrastructure. It comes as progressives in the president's own party say the Build Back Better plan just doesn't go far enough.
And here's where things stand right now. The $3.5 trillion spending plan is yet to come to a vote in the House. It includes $10.5 billion for roads and bridges here in Michigan. Democrat leaders have set a deadline for the end of the month to get it to a vote. Let's get to Grant Herms live in Howell tonight, where the president wrapped up speaking about it all just a short time ago. Grant.
Well, Devin, Kimberly, the president spoke for just about 45 minutes, just a little over that actually, to a crowd of almost all of the major Democrats from here in Michigan, except for our U.S. senators who were in D.C. today on some major votes for the bills that he was here touting. We got some pretty raucous protesters here behind us who have been here all day long since 10 o'clock this morning. The president actually had to come right through this intersection here where they were all lined up. They tried to follow the motorcade into the street at one point in time. And we were out here, and those are the same people that the president was trying to sell his plans to today.
And I'm here today to try to set some things straight if I can.
President Biden speaking from the Howell Operating Engineers Union Training Ground, touting his plans to spend trillions on infrastructure and social programs. Michigan standing to get tens of billions of dollars for things like roads, lead pipe removal, child care, community college, and grain industry jobs.
When we give working families a break, we're not just raising their quality of life, we're putting parents in a position to earn a paycheck. We're also positioning our country to compete in the world. That's what these bills are all about.
The bills have bitterly divided Democrats and Republicans and pit Democrat against Democrat.
These bills are not about left versus right, or moderate versus progressive, or anything that pits Americans against one another. These bills are about competitiveness versus complacency. They're about opportunity versus decay. They're about leading the world or continue to let the world pass us by.
The bills would also be spread out over 10 years, something Democrats in D.C. have been debating as the clock keeps ticking.
We need to prepare for 10 years down the line. That's what these bills do.
About a mile from where the president spoke, hundreds of protesters showing up for a protest meant to be against the president's spending plan, but quickly turning into an obscenity-filled rally against the president and in support of former President Trump.
I am livid that there was a coup d'etat in this country, and most Americans have fallen to it.
It's kind of about everything, to be honest. I mean, the spending is the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other things.
Supporters for the president were also there, but were vastly outnumbered.
There are a lot of important things. Child care is very important. Clean water. There's a lady sitting right over here that is from Flint, and it's amazing.
A major divisive agenda on the line with billions at stake for Michigan.
And today, Republican Party officials at both the national and state levels roundly criticized the president's visit and his plan. They also took aim at Governor Whitmer in one statement, saying this morning Michiganders are feeling the burn under Joe Biden and his out-of-touch crony Gretchen Whitmer. This will change when we elect a new Republican governor. Devin?
Grant, we talked yesterday about the president choosing his stop in Howell. There was significance to this stop.
There was some real significance. This is Michigan's 8th district where Alyssa Slotkin is running right now. Now, it's one of the most competitive districts in the state of Michigan. She only won her seat by 3 points, and it will again be a close race in 2022, already a top target for Republicans.
All right, Grant. Grant's in Howell this afternoon. Tonight, the Local 4 defenders are uncovering new information after a man from St. Clair County was arrested in that incident outside the U.S. Supreme Court in Washington.
This all happened this morning after police say he parked illegally in front of the building and wouldn't move. Defender Sean Lay is live tonight with who this suspect is. And Sean, Michigan's Attorney General just happened to be there as all this was going on.
And Kimberly, we want to get you answers tonight. We know that the Attorney General and State Solicitor General right inside the U.S. Supreme Court while all this was going on outside. Dana Nessel tells me she doesn't know if this was targeted or just a coincidence. But here's what we're learning about the Michigan man arrested there today. A St. Clair County man causing this dramatic scene right outside of the U.S. Supreme Court in Washington.
Police just carried out a controlled detonation.
U.S. Capitol Police setting off what is called a flashbang to take the driver of that suspicious vehicle into custody. That man refusing to cooperate with police, and police say he made a threat.
The man refused to talk, made a statement to the effect of time for talking is done.
Photos taken at the scene show police arresting the man. Police identified him as 55-year-old Dale Melvin from Kimball Township in St. Clair County. The defenders went to Melvin's last known address. A woman here says Melvin moved out and has been living in his truck. She says sheriff's deputies were at her door looking for him 3 days ago, worried that he may be a threat to himself. Neighbors say Melvin was outspoken.
Bossy, awful bossy. He had that attitude, my way or the highway.
Inside the Supreme Court, Michigan Solicitor General Fadwa Hammoud was making history as the first Arab-American Muslim woman to argue a case before the court. Attorney General Dana Nessel was also there.
There's some weirdness here today. You know, they shut down, the whole street. There's some sort of an emergency situation. There was a man that it looks like was arrested from Michigan who posed some sort of a threat. It's a weird coincidence that the person posing a threat was from Michigan, but you might want to follow up on that part of the story.
No one injured in all of this. The U.S. Capitol Police say all of it remains under investigation. In the meantime, we alluded to State Solicitor General Fadwa Hammoud. We're going to hear from her moments after she was before the Supreme Court today arguing on behalf of the state. We'll hear from her at 5:30. Kimberly.
I'm just curious, Mr. Melvin, does he have any criminal history?
Yeah, we pulled his criminal history, about 10 contacts with law enforcement, all in St. Clair County, all having to do with traffic violations, but that's all we could find right now.
Okay. Sean, thanks.
Now, a Local 4 News update. We are learning more about the investigation into possible explosives that led to the closure of the Ambassador Bridge. Officers responded Monday morning to a report of 2 grenades inside a vehicle. They were reportedly found in, at the time, an unknown white powdery substance. A test of that substance revealed that it was not explosive. It was not hazardous. The grenades were secured. They were then found to be inactive. The driver of the vehicle, a U.S. citizen, is not going to face any charges. All right, we seem to be stuck in now a stretch of dreary weather. Last week we had a stretch of perfect weather, and now we got to get out of this little malaise.
We've had plenty of rain too, Paul, so we wouldn't mind a few peaks of sun. Can we get some?
Yeah, we'll get a little bit. And now I'll show you in a minute. Parts of the area are getting lots of sun right now, but you can see downtown here, this is just 100% grunge. Oh boy, that looks kind of yucky. Temps are in the 60s right now, but it's humid out there, so it really doesn't feel chilly so much. It just feels kind of clammy out there. Now you can see the clearing here that came down through the thumb today, now north of M59 here. You can see this is like mostly sunny, clear blue sky up here. Now, meanwhile, down here where I just showed you on the sky cam, a lot of cloud cover. So some of us are seeing the clearing this evening. Some of us will stay cloudy, and the temps are just a very slow, almost steady, a slow fall in through the 60s. And as far as weather impact for the next few days, well, we got maybe some dense fog tomorrow morning, but rain that we have to talk about Thursday and Friday. And then right now we have a weekend to talk about as well. We'll do that in a few minutes, guys.
Yep.
All right, Paul. The Macomb County Clerk plans to hire a cybersecurity firm to conduct a forensic audit of the county's election server.
Anthony Ferlini says he will hire Alabama-based Pro V&V for the job. Ferlini said he expects the audit to take place within the next few weeks. Results should be available before the November election. Former President Donald Trump beat Democrat Joe Biden 53% to 45% in Macomb County last year, but President Biden won the state. Trump has made claims, as you know, that fraud cost him the election. There is no evidence of widespread voter fraud in the 2020 election. Voters at Kellogg's Battle Creek plant are on strike. They took to the picket lines this morning after their contract expired at midnight. They joined workers at other plants in 3 other states demanding better wages. The company says they remain open to contract negotiations. The facilities produce several popular cereals, including Rice Krispies, Raisin Bran, Fruit Loops, Corn Flakes, and Frosted Flakes.
This building is sure going to make an impression at the Warren Tech Center campus. Today, General Motors announcing plans to build a massive battery research lab in it. Scientists will be working on things like reducing costs of batteries, increasing their mileage. Larry Spruill has a look at the plans.
GM says this is a multi-million-dollar building here in Warren, and leaders say what will be happening inside this building will help advance the future of their electric car batteries. The foundation is laid and the construction is going up.
Well, right behind us, we have a very exciting Battery Innovation Development Center.
Tim Grew with General Motors says the facility is named after Bill Wallace, a leader who paved the way.
He was on the ground floor of making these batteries real. He worked on every battery that GM has ever done, and more importantly, he had a unique ability to have innovation with execution.
The employees who will work inside this building will play a pivotal role in advancing GM's vision of an all-electric future and help pave the way to bigger and better.
In this center, we're going to accelerate the introduction of next generation batteries that can literally double the range, reduce the cost, make everything better for our customers.
The Wallace Center will be capable of building large format prototype lithium metal battery cells for vehicle usage beyond this small scale.
It's basically a battery that you have in your phone or your tablet. It's just bigger, and it just has a lot more capability where it'll last 15 years and whatever mileage you can drive on the car.
But why Southeast Michigan?
It was a natural to put it in Southeast Michigan because it's co-located with all of the other support groups that feed into it.
And GM says the building will be finished in mid-2022. We're live tonight. Larry Spruill, Local 4.
Another exciting ingredient to it all. All right, Larry. Well, she's calling it the highlight of her career.
New tonight, you'll hear from Michigan's Solicitor General as she becomes the first Arab-American Muslim woman to argue before the Supreme Court.
Also, one of Metro Detroit's most well-known burger joints up for sale.
Plus, how police got a leg up in nabbing two men who they say are behind a string of carjackings in Detroit. We'll have that and more next.